and realized I didn't have on green, so yes, I did change. I didn't want to get pinched. And my wonderful sister is on her way up on stage, and just so y'all know, she's going to kill me for this, but she will be 40 on Wednesday. She looks good to be 40, doesn't she? So, she doesn't have green on. Okay, well, y'all, we are so excited to have y'all here tonight. It is a rainy evening, so thank y'all for not letting that be your excuse to stay at home in your pajamas. But we are in for such a treat. Mike and Gayle Foster are here from Savannah. And I want to say a special thank you to Mike and Gayle for coming to do this training. And I also want to say a special thank you to Rhonda and Bruce Hardy. They have put together the facility for us. So y'all show them your appreciation. And y'all give Renee a hard time because, like I said, the big 4-0 is, you know, just hours away at this point. And we actually need to thank a lot of leadership in this room. If you contributed financially to make this event possible, please stand. All right. And because of the leadership that you see standing before you, we did not have to charge you at the door. So y'all please do say a special thank you to your area-wide leadership for putting this together. We are not going to take stage time because we want to hear from Mike and Gayle, but Renee is going to open us in prayer, and I just want to say a special thank you to all of you for being here. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you so much for this time that you've given us to come together as a premier family and encourage one another and love on one another, and it's exciting to see people we don't get to see as much. And Lord, we just thank you so much for Mike and Gayle Foster, their willingness to take time out of their schedule to come here tonight and invest in our lives and our businesses. We just thank you so much for that and ask a special blessing on them and give them safe travels as they go back home. And Lord, we just thank you so much for this gift of Premier that you've given to all of us. And we pray, Lord, that you will bring people into our lives that we can give this same dose of hope to others. And we just ask now, Lord, that everything that we do tonight glorifies you, everything that we say, everything that comes out of our mouths and do. We just thank you so much and ask everything in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. And if Miss Gayle would come up on the stage, we have a little thank you for you taking your time to come and be with us tonight. This is for you. And you can take it and...
Oh, I already have one of these. I'll take it. I can read these later. Thank you so much.
We have something for you too. You want you to be part of our group?
Absolutely. I can see y'all. Y'all, the last time I cried is when the Braves won the World Series. And I just feel like crying right now. I'm just so happy to be back home and see all of you guys. And I know you're expecting me to be funny, and I will as soon as I get the crying out of my system. So I promise, just look goofy out there, and as a matter of fact, you do. But we're going to start out with an opportunity presentation where I'm going to invite you, if you're not in Premier, to join us. We have the world's best kept secret. This literally, I believe, is what you've been praying for. And it's right here for you to have. And for those of you that are already in Premier, during the training, I'm going to invite you to join Premier. Some of you need to do that too. But I want to talk about Premier and some of the things that make Premier unique, because who is not looking for some extra money right now? Is there anybody in here that has too much? Around income tax time, you might think you do when you're having to pay for all the money you got. But we all need some extra money, and the great thing about Premier is all the things we get in addition to the extra money. As a matter of fact, it makes the extra money seem like the most insignificant part of it. You guessed, I want to know how many of you out here are guests that are thinking about doing Premier, checking it out for somebody else, or just making the person you're with tone down a little bit to get them off your case. So if you're not, there's one that definitely is just making the person get off their back there. Okay, we've got two, one up here, any over there. There's one there that just, boy, you were so incognito. Stand up and tell everybody who you are. Oh, me. Let me tell you, the great thing, the focus is on the jewelry. It's not on you, okay? So we do. We've got a bunch of you guys here that are looking for something and wondering whether or not this may be it. And I want to tell you that Premier is not the only answer in the world. Back in my youthful days, I've been in Premier for 23 years, I used to think that not only could everybody do Premier, but I thought everybody should do Premier. And I have mellowed a bit and matured a bit over the years, and I have found out that Premier is not for everyone. And so you can relax, because if God's not leading you to do it, if it's not a fit for you, we just want you to be an advertisement for us, just a mouth to find the people that Premier is for. So, but I'm afraid there are a lot of you in here that think something like this is not anything I'd be interested in, that you really don't know what something like this is. Because that's the way I was 23 years ago. I was looking for a home-based business or any type of business. I was looking for something where I could be my own boss, where I could call my own shots, where I could create my own opportunity and my own hours. And I was interested in anything and everything except for direct sales. And I even saw somebody advertise on Facebook the other day. Does anybody know a way I can make some extra money? Please do not respond to me if you are in direct sales. Okay? And so I know exactly where you are. And truthfully, I still, after 23 years and all my vast experience in, quote, direct sales, I'm still not just a believer in direct sales in general. I'm a believer in Premier. And there are things about Premier that makes Premier unique in the industry. And I want to start out and tell you guys why Premier was founded. Because Premier was not founded to make money for the person that founded it. It was not founded to create a great and a giant jewelry company. It wasn't even founded because the owner's wife was madly in love with jewelry and wanted to own her own company that created it. Premier literally was founded because Andy and Joan Horner had missions on their heart, and they wanted to spend the rest of their life doing mission work all over the world. And on a trip at age 60, retired, they were on a mission trip. Andy Horner was on a mission trip, and his friend and mentor said, Andy, have you ever thought about the fact that God didn't give you all this business experience for no reason? And he might want you to use your experience to go back and start a company of your own and use the profits of that company to support missions in a far greater way than you ever could just by yourself. What a unique and unusual way to begin a company. When you're 60 years old, when you have plenty of money, when you're going into your retirement years, that's when Premier was founded. It wasn't founded by somebody that wanted to enrich himself. It was founded by somebody that wanted to give to others. And literally over the years, Premier has given away multiplied millions of dollars to missions, to orphanages, to even prisons, where the prison warden is a committed Christian and deals and wins people to the Lord that are on death row. I mean, we are involved. Premier has its fingers in so many different things around the world. So if you are looking for something that's more than just a business, something that gives back, you're involved with something that probably gives more than any other business, but does it very quietly, because they just want something that's kind of in-house to be known. You know, he says, you're in business for yourself. This is just kind of Premier's personal thing that they do on the side. So Premier was created to support missions, and I believe in a very special way, God has his hand of blessing on Premier. And not only that, but people that are like-minded, that are drawn to the philosophy and purpose of honoring God, serving others, and enriching every life that we touch, giving our excess profits to meet needs all over the world. Those type people are attracted to it. So Andy Horner says, this is not a Christian company. It's a company founded by a Christian, built on biblical principles, but there's no such thing as a Christian company. There's no companies in heaven. So if you girls think you're going to get to heaven and see a big Steinmark sign, hate to tell you that, you're wrong. But there's no companies in heaven, only people in heaven. And so this is a company owned and operated by Christians with biblical principles, but it's a company open to everyone. And no matter what you believe, if you are attracted to a group of positive-minded, giving-minded, honest, serving people, you're going to love what Premier is all about, and you're going to love being a part of Premier. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to sell something. Selling is so far down the list, it's not even funny. As a matter of fact, we don't even focus on selling. Selling is just what happens automatically when you're draped in jewelry. Okay? You don't even have to think about that. That just happens because ladies like it. Which brings me to the second thing, not only the purpose, the reason that we were founded, but the product. Because Andy Horner said, this is what I want to do with the profits. Not only that, but I want to build into the people and enrich the people that are a part of this wonderful company. He said he goes to the direct selling meetings, and these people with these other companies said, why on earth do you pay your people 50%? Nobody in this industry does that. And he says they don't understand, they will never understand, because these other companies that are a little bit cheaper to join, they're paying their people 25%, and the owner of the company is pocketing that other 25%. Can you imagine how much money they're making? He says they will never understand. My purpose is not to make money. My purpose is to enrich life, enrich lives, and spread hope all over the world. And he says, he told me, he said, Gayle, the reason we pay our people more than any other company is because if I don't catch them with the hook of making money, they'll never stay around long enough for me to fill them full of Jesus. Isn't that incredible? And so the purpose is to enrich you, to meet needs all over the world. The product that we do it through is jewelry. Why jewelry? Because it just so happens that the overwhelming vast majority of women in the world already love jewelry. Nobody has to talk women into loving and wanting jewelry. Okay? You have to talk them out of loving it so much. We moved to Savannah, and right now I'm wondering why on earth we did, because all of y'all are looking so good out there. But we moved to Savannah, and one of the things that Savannah is famous for is the Savannah Candy Kitchen or Riverside Sweets. Both of them are kind of the same. And they make the homemade pralines in there, and you come in and they hand out, you know, the samples to you, and sometimes you get a really big chunk for a sample. Now let me ask you this. That, like jewelry, is a product that people already want. Does that praline guy have to worry about what kind of personality he has? It is so totally irrelevant because the focus is on a product that people want. I actually hope that when he hands me out the sample, he doesn't even make eye contact with me so that I can come back through again and then not realize that I've already been there before. And so if you have to sell something and you don't want to be a salesperson, jewelry and homemade pralines are two businesses that you might consider going into, because your people skills and your personality are really kind of irrelevant. The product is something that ladies already want. You don't have to talk them into it. You lay it out on the table. You show a few ways that it goes together, a few tricks to go with it, and voila, you have a feeding frenzy. Okay? Ladies plus jewelry, feeding frenzy. And so the product is a wonderful product. The product is the #1 gift item in all of America. So if you happen to be the fraction of the fraction of the fraction of 1% of the ladies that don't particularly care for jewelry, all the people that you're giving gifts to love it. So it is not only something everybody already likes, so you don't have to talk them into it, but it's the #1 gift item in America, and you get to wear it. Therefore, you are a walking billboard. You don't have to go up and get the attention on jewelry. They say that 2 things that people comment on more than anything else to strangers are eye-catching accessories and new babies. Now, if you happen to have a new baby and eye-catching accessories, you're in luck. But if you want to get in a conversation with strangers, I assure you putting on a big necklace is a lot easier than having a new baby. Okay? So this is something where total strangers will talk to you because you are wearing around your advertisement. And thank goodness jewelry is also very light and portable. Can you imagine if you were in a home accessory business? Just think about all of y'all's different taste in here. And if I wanted to bring something to your home, maybe some paintings to hang on your walls, how many different paintings and frames would I have to drag in for you to get a selection for your particular tastes, colors, decors, likes? And yet I can carry everything I need in 1 or 2 bags that has a selection that everybody in the world is going to find something that they love out of that selection. So it's very portable. I get to wear around my own advertisement. Ladies already want it, and if they don't want it, they can give it to somebody else, because I guarantee you somebody else wants it. So I am so grateful. I am passionate about the reason that Andy Horner founded Premier. To enrich lives, to honor God, to serve people, to support missions. But I'm happy about the product he did to do it through. As a matter of fact, Gabby, she's changed her name on us and colored her hair and cut it. Where is she? I didn't even recognize her. Gabby, stand up. This is Gabby's 2nd time around in Premier. And I, with Rhonda Hardy, did the one-on-one with Gabby years ago, and she said, you don't even need to share the marketing plan with me. I don't care. Just give me the contract. Jesus and jewelry, that's enough for me. Okay? So, you know, we can cut out all the details and say, hey, we're getting to wear tax-deductible jewelry, sell it to other people, and honor the Lord all over the world. What could be better than that? And truly nothing could be better than that. So that's our product. And guys, we have cutting edge fashion. We have experts in the Premier manufacturing company that travels the world to the jewelry trade shows. They are on the edge of what's coming up every time. If you see something come up and you go, ew, I don't like that, don't say it out loud, because in a couple months you're going to look foolish. Okay? Because they know it's coming, and they're slightly ahead of it. And we are in an industry with people that are creating things that you can be proud of. It's not, I have to wear Premier because that's what I sell. There is nothing that I would rather be in than Premier jewelry, and I feel sorry for the rest of the world. Okay? So jewelry is our product. Now let's talk about our plan. Because how do we make money doing this? You can have the greatest product in the world, but if you don't have a way to get it in front of people and to market it, it doesn't do any good. There are plenty of people that come up with great ideas, but they've not got no way whatsoever to get those ideas out to the masses. And Andy Horner found the best way in the world is to do it through direct marketing. That means you talk to your friends and the people they know and the people that you meet in the course of your regular life. Okay, you go to them in their homes with their friends. It's said, the first time I heard this, I thought, there's no way. I don't know that many people. It said that everybody knows about 300 people by name that you have some sort of relationship with. And I thought, no way, until Facebook started. You know, I've got close to 5,000 Facebook friends, and I'm going to guarantee you that I know at least 300 of them. But when I know my 300 friends, when one of them has a show for me, not because she has to, but because she wants to, and I guarantee you out of 300 friends, there are at least 30 of them that would love to have a fun show where they get free jewelry with their girlfriends and learn all about fashion. But when I do that, that opens the door to each one of their 300 friends. And so I start out, and maybe I have 30 out of my 300 that are interested in helping me. And every time I do a show, poof, 300 more appear. Isn't that amazing? That's the reason why for 23 years, I have never, ever run out of people to do business with. You touch one, and that whole thing opens up to somebody else. It's almost like a video game. It's an amazing concept. So how does this work? First of all, Premier makes it very enticing for somebody to help you. They love you, they love the product, they love getting the free fashion seminar, but on top of that, they are going to get free jewelry by having you into their home or their office. And that free jewelry is not coming out of your profit, it's coming from Premier Designs Incorporated. So you don't have to sit there. I've had shows literally where I have given away over $1,000 in free jewelry. If that came out of my profit, each new piece of free jewelry they got would be creating an increasing sense of anxiety in my stomach, right? But that's coming from Premier. It cost us $8 to give away 30% of the total of the show in free jewelry. And so if she's getting $30 worth of free jewelry or $3,000 worth of free jewelry, it's capped off at $8. So I'm excited to be giving it away because I'm giving away somebody else's stuff. How exciting is that? And then we have additional bonus certificates that they can earn for getting people to the show, for having advance orders. We don't even have that one for getting people to the show. How many of y'all were judging me when I said that? Raise your hand, Foster, you're out of the loop. You don't know we don't do that certificate anymore. We're having $100 in advance orders for getting 3 or more bookings and for holding your show on the original night. Those are the things you earn bonus certificates for. And so all things are making your business work. The ladies love you. They love the jewelry. They love the time with their friends. And they're getting it free for getting to have their friends in to play informally in jewelry around their table. Wouldn't it be fun if you got a group of 10 of your best friends and all went shopping together and like maybe there were no guards there and you could just go pull out whatever you wanted and try it on and pull all the jewelry out from underneath the countertops and not have to put any of it back and just play on each other, and nobody was there to stop you, and you were there with all the people that you valued their opinion. Wouldn't that be fun? That's what we get to do at a jewelry show. They say that jewelry shopping is the most intimidating experience on the face of the earth, with a bunch of snooty women that are probably making $10 an hour that act like they're billionaires behind the counter, and if you want to see something, they've got the prices turned over, and if you have to ask, you can't afford it, and there's no way they're going to lay more than one piece out on the counter at a time, and you feel like there's armed guards just hovered over you. We take all of that intimidation out of the jewelry shopping experience, where it's just a fun, wild, crazy evening with laughter and friends, trying and playing things on that we never would normally do and getting each other's opinions. What could be more fun than getting to make a living doing that? I tell people my job description is eating brownies and wearing earrings. Seriously, y'all, that is not rocket science type stuff. And we get paid 50% of whatever we sell. You said, what does that mean? My mind does not relate to 50%. Well, 50% is very close to half. Okay? That is an amazing thing. Because if you have a $100 jewelry show, you make half. That's $50. Let's say you were there for 3 hours. That's like 40. How much an hour is that? $15 and $16 and a half an hour, something like that. And that's the lowest it's ever going to get. Going out, playing in joy with your friends, making $16.50 an hour is the worst case scenario in this business. Let's say you have a $1,000 show. Who else had a $1,000 show this year? Stand up. Okay, so one evening, these ladies got dressed up and did something that was actually moral and legal. And came back with at least $500 in their pocket. Now that almost sounds like a miracle, doesn't it? Can you imagine? You don't know when you go out if you're going to make $50, if you're going to make $500, if you're going to make $1,000. You're right, Premier's not secure. I might go out tomorrow and make $500. Oh, but I'd rather have a secure job. I want to know for sure that when I go out, I'm going to make $10 an hour and come back with $40. Give me the insecure job, please. Give me the job where the least I'm going to make is $50 in an evening. And the most I'm going to make is $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200. I prefer the insecure job. Thank you. You know, you want something secure, go check into the jail. So we make 50% of what we sell. On an average nationwide, our national average is a $500 show. Somebody other than me, because I made an F in math, what's half of 500? 250. Is that really good money to go out and work for like 3 hours in an evening, $250? How much is that an hour? Somebody divide 250 by 3. $85 an hour. Okay, let's pretend that you need some extra money. Okay, now you don't have to like out yourself and make us think that you actually do need extra money. But let's pretend that somebody you know needs some extra money. And so they've been out of the workforce for a long time, and somebody's filming it and I keep walking around. Hello, and they've been out of the workforce for a long time. And they go to apply for a job. And they've got kids at home or something, and so they can only work part-time. And they say, I would like a job. And I got kind of a strange schedule because my kids have needs, and so I need to call the shots on what days and what hours I work. And I have a lot of needs, and I need for you to start me out at $85 an hour. That's what you have in Premier. And so people make fun of you and scoff that you're wasting your life or wasting your education doing something like this. Oh, it's so hard for me to keep my mouth zipped. It is. You know, I want to lay it out there and show it to them. But God just silences me, and I just smile and say, thank you, God, that you gave me the wisdom to be able to see this. So if you make about $250 an evening, let's say we've got some expenses. You know, I told you paid $8 to give away all that free jewelry regardless of how much it was. Each one of those $50 bonus certificates she earns is $6. And so that's about $20 possible dollars per show in expenses. You might have a few little giveaways and stuff. So let's take it down from a gross profit of $250 down to a net profit of $225. If all you did was one jewelry show a week, one 3-hour segment, an hour before, an hour afterwards, 5 hours total a week, 20 hours total a month, not a part-time job of 20 hours a week. Guys, I'm talking about 20 hours a month at $225 net profit. That's going to bring home actual income to go towards your family budget, approximately an additional $900. Could that make a difference? Every month. Let's imagine that you're at work tomorrow and your boss comes in and says, we've just decided out of the blue this century to give you a raise this year. And it's going to be $900 a month. Would you be like really excited? Yeah, but you're going to have to work an extra hour every day. Oh, boo. Now, maybe your needs are high. Maybe you've had some medical expenses or something unexpected come up, or maybe you've lost your job and you're kind of fearful. Do you think you could bring it to yourself to do 2 jewelry showings a week? Maybe even clump them in the same day. Do one Saturday morning, one Saturday afternoon. You only have to figure out what to wear once if you do it that way. You can come up with an extra $1,800 a month on your own without the help of any other person on the face of the earth. Just by being diligent, by following up, by following through, by keeping your eyes open, by following all your leads. An extra $1,800 a month, 10 hours a week, total work before and after the show. Amazing. If you did 1 show a week, it adds up to an extra $10,000 a year. 2 shows a week, an extra $20,000 a year. 3 shows a week, an extra $30,000 a year. Just showing the jewelry, because our marketing plan is you make 50% of what you sell. Almost every other company, you make 20, 25, on the top end, 30%. And those that pay 30% have more expenses taken out of their 30% than we do out of ours. Okay? We've got a good deal going. Now, Mike and I, we've been doing this together full time as our only source of income, apart from about maybe 5 rebates in the past 20 years. Even if I did 3 shows a week and made $30,000, I can't live on that. So how do we make the money through Premier to be able to live full-time for 20 years? And that's through taking advantage of both streams of income in Premier, sharing the business with others. We speak in family terms. If I share the business with somebody, they become my child. That's kind of humorous, but it means I care about them and I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to hold their hand and mentor them. I'm going to be their cheerleader and their coach and their mom. And nothing is going to come out of their profit. If I bring you in, Tammy, I bring you in, you're my Premier child, you go out and do a show, you're going to make your full, complete 50%. You're going to average $200 to $250 every time you do a jewelry show. And how am I going to get paid? The Premier Designs Incorporated home office is going to pay me for helping Tammy. Wouldn't that be nice if somebody paid us for taking care of our kids? Seriously. They're going to pay me 10% of the wholesale cost of everything Tammy sells. So if Tammy does a $500 show, half of it, $250, goes in her pocket. The other $250 goes to Premier Designs Incorporated to pay for the wholesale cost of the jewelry. Premier Designs Incorporated said, what did we just get in from Tammy? We got in $250. Well, who's Tammy's Premier mom? Because we owe her 10% of that amount, because she's the one that helps us take care of Tammy. We owe her $25. So if I'm doing a show one night, I go out and make my $250 profit, and Tammy's going out at the same time, so I've made an additional $25 from what Tammy does. Now listen to this. I get to have as many Premier children as I want to have, as I can take care of. And so I might make 25 from Tammy, and 25 from Julie, and 25 from Kelly, and 25 from Tammy over here, and I don't know your name, so we're going to stop there. What is your name? Tanya. Well, let's say that Tammy is one of my Premier children, and she says, hey, I like what Gayle's doing. Man, she is working the system. I'm going to go get me a child of my own. And she goes out and brings in Tanya. Tanya or Tanya? Tanya. Okay, and she brings in Tanya, and now I've got 4 Premier children, and one of them just had a baby, and so now I have a grandbaby. Isn't that amazing? And Tanya does a show, makes $250. Tammy is her mom, so she makes $25, and Premier does something too hard to believe. They pay Grandma the exact same thing they pay Mama. And I make $25 when Tanya does her show as a grandbaby. And Tanya brings in somebody, and it's my great-grandbaby, and I make 10% on that as well. And those people just spread out and spread out and spread out, and over 23 years we have close to 600 of them in 35 different states. It's like having franchises all over the United States, and we are not only making a part-time supplemental income, but we're making a full-time living, building a successful business that isn't going anywhere, regardless of the economy. That's what you're a part of. You can do it any way you want. If you want to join a girlfriend club and wear green stuff in your head, you can do that. If you just wear green stuff in your head, you'll just have fun. You won't have money. But if you wear green things on your head and go out and show the jewelry and share the business, you'll make money, have friends, and look good in your jewelry. Does that sound like a good opportunity to you? And so the way the business plan works, 50% on what you sell. As little or as much as you sell. Most people come in and make in the range of $500 to $2,000 a month, and they stack it on top of their husband's income or on top of their own full-time job. And so that's a pretty good little supplement. But then as they share with others, and as those people share with others, and those people share with others, it grows till eventually this side of the business becomes even bigger than this side of the business. And now, congratulations, you own a business where you are the boss and you're working it out of your home. Okay, now let's talk about what your investment is to get into this business. Everybody invests just $395. You know what that is? That is the profit literally from just 2 average jewelry shows. Let's say you have a show, your sponsor actually comes and does it for you, so you don't even have to do anything at that show, except maybe pick the big stuff up off the floor. Okay? And then your best friend does a show for you, or your sister. You've earned enough money to get into Premier Designs. And once you're in Premier Designs, you have all the privileges that a Premier Designs jeweler has. We're going next week with a mega group of people. Does anybody know how many people are going from Premier on this cruise? 1,400 of my best friends, including Tammy, are going on this cruise with us out of New York City. Can you believe that? Now guess what? This is kind of tacky for me to say, but it makes the point. We get to stay in like these penthouse suites because Tim Horner let the executive directors do that. And so we have our own little private pool and private eating area and all that. Tammy's like, I do a lot more than she does. And you're right, Tammy. That's absolutely true. What can I say? But I know somebody not with Premier that's going on this same cruise, and they're getting a little bitty inside cabin with no windows, and a little bitty bed in there, and a little bitty sink, and a little bitty shower. But guess what? All the same entertainment, the same food, the same everything is available to them, except of course for the private pool. That's what it's like in Premier. Everybody joins for $395. And everybody gets the same benefits, the same opportunities to win these trips, the same money, the same hostess benefits, all the same stuff. But what you get to decide is whether you're going to be in the penthouse or whether you're going to be in the inner room on what jewelry you pick out. And you can pick out 3 different ways. You can select your own and get as much or as little as you want at 50% off. Or you can get what's called a silver kit, which has 40 pieces of jewelry. It's actually discounted about 25% less than half price. Or you can get a gold kit, which has around 70 pieces of jewelry and is discounted at 25% less than half price. The maximum you're going to spend on your jewelry, if you got the whole gold kit, which is basically like having the penthouse suite, is $750. And it's going to be over $2,000 worth of jewelry, and it's all going to be tax deductible. There's no way you can lose. If you combined your $395 with your $750, it's $1,145. If you did 5 or 6 average shows, you'd have that paid back. So let's say now you do a show for yourself, and you have 4 or 5 of your friends and mother-in-law, grandmother, sister, and aunt do a show, it's paid back. And now you have the ability to build your business with all of this profit coming in, with all the ability to reproduce itself and all the jewelry that you own. It's like equity in your business. Anytime you decide to get out, just sell your jewelry, get all your money back. It's no lose. I'm telling y'all, I've heard every marketing plan on the face of the earth. I've been acquainted with almost every other company. I've been in this for 23 years. I see no cracks in it whatsoever for somebody that has a great attitude, a teachable spirit, and is willing to step out of their comfort zone every now and then and work. Work in a business that's about developing relationships, serving other people, loving on folks, sharing, caring, eating brownies, and wearing earrings. So if you've been praying about something, don't sit there and say, God, why haven't you answered my prayer? Because he's going to say, I did answer your prayer, and you just let it go right over your head and didn't take advantage of that. There's no success without work. We don't sit around just praying for God to give us some more money. We should pray for God to give us an opportunity where we can work in a company that honors God, a company that we can trust, a company that we can be proud of, with a product that's incredible, sharing hope with other people. Now, when's a good time to join? Right now. I don't know if you've noticed, you wouldn't notice by going outside, but spring is upon us. And when spring comes, people start crawling out from underneath their rocks and their holes and their caves. They start going out and shopping. They're having to accessorize all their new things. They just have a little bit of life in them. They hop around like little bunnies. And now is the time. Winter is over. Spring is here. Get in now while the getting's good and come join us. We love Premier. We love each other. Now, you get started by writing out a check. Some of you say, ooh, money's tough. I've got to save this. Guess what? You keep about $1,000 in your bank. Come back a year from now, you may have earned 5 cents interest. Okay? You take that $1,000 and invest it in a business and make $200 to $250 every time you go out and do a jewelry show and then pay yourself back. I think that's a pretty good investment. Okay? You can put it on a credit card. Any credit card. You say, that's what got me in trouble. Well, how about using that credit card for something that's actually going to get you out of debt and get you a business instead of just buying some shoes with it? All right? And the cool thing is you're actually going to get some jewelry, and it's a legitimate business. How much better could it be than that? But Premier has a way you can get in where you can get in for nothing down and 6 months, same as cash. That's almost hard for me to believe when I said that. I'm thinking, surely that can't be true. Surely I just remembered that incorrectly. But if you have good credit, you can know probably within 5 minutes whether you're accepted for that. And you can get in with their money and start doing this business. And if you don't have good credit, please don't say, then it's not intended for me to do it, because if you don't have good credit, I can guarantee you, you need to do something and you need to do it quick. Right? So go borrow some money from those people that broke your kneecaps and use that as motivation to get it paid back. Okay. We are going to break now, and I'm going to give y'all just about 5 minutes for the guest here. You guys can go home. You can feel free to stay for the training. If you're interested, if you want to go out and apply for the Premier cards, you can find somebody that has a laptop and see if you can do it, or you can do that tomorrow. But we're going to come back in and I'm going to teach you guys some ways, give you some motivation, and teach you some ways to build a successful business. So, break time. We're starting up again in just a few minutes. This great promotion where they let everybody do a quick start again. How many of you guys did your 6-show quick start? Stand up. Woo! That is awesome. They all not only made about $1,200, but they got $200 worth of free jewelry from Premier for doing that. How many of you did your 9-show quick start? Stand up. That's about like everybody that did their 6-show quick start. Stand up. Has anybody already done your 12-show quick start? Okay, let's hear it. Woo! Who else? Woo! Age, did you do it? Woo! Somebody Thursday. Okay, who's going to do it? Stand up. I am happy to say that Premier is alive and well. And if you've heard somebody say that people are struggling, guess what? The people that aren't opening their mouths are the people that are struggling. Okay? And all the leftover business from the people that think it's hard right now is being eaten up by these people that are working. Okay? So, we just did the opportunity presentation, and it always amazes myself at how wonderful Premier is. Seriously, I don't think there's a better training than you can go to than listening to the opportunity presentation and just realizing what you already have a hold of. And you're not buried in the ground like the parable of the stewards in the Bible. That's in your possession to take and multiply. But there are building a Premier business is like 2 sides of a railroad track. And your business isn't going to go any further than the longest rail. And so, if you are just taking advantage of one side of the business, which is showing the jewelry, you really are not even taking advantage of the business itself. It's just like having a really fun, lucrative part-time job. But if you want to be a business builder, you have to take advantage of the other side of the track. So we've got showing the jewelry, and then we have sharing the business. And the great thing is that you can share the business as you're showing the jewelry. And so it doesn't take any longer to build a business while you're making this part-time income than it does to not build a business while you're making this part-time income. And I want you just to get these simple figures in your head, because we can go out and we can say, okay, if we do 2 shows a month, we make this. If we do 4 shows a month, we make this, whatever. But just think very simply. 1 show a week is about how much a year? $10,000 a year. 2 shows a week is about how much a year? $20,000. And 3 shows a week is about how much a year? $30,000. All that is in your control with not a single other person in your downline. And so if you were sitting there being envious of somebody that got a commission check for $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, remember, you could do that if you did not have a single person in your downline through Premier. Okay? That's in your control. Now, your local people are so capable of showing you how to do that and showing you all the cool little fashion combos and the little tricks and the ways to invite people with the online invites and to direct people to the online catalog for advance orders and all those little tricks. I thought when I came in town, I wanted to give you some tips on both why and how to build the other half of your business, because the other half of your business is the most lucrative part. The retail part of the business is just the tip of the iceberg. That's just what you see above the waterline. But beneath the waterline is this massive structure that spreads out to infinity if you will take advantage of it. So just kind of to start out, just kind of informally, what are some of the keys to what we call sponsoring other people? It's different from recruiting. If you think of recruiting, you kind of think of just kind of signing somebody up and leaving them to figure it out. When you sponsor them, you're like there with them, walking this business, walking with them, hand in hand, side by side, mentoring them, coaching them, cheering them on, doing it together. And so what are some keys to sponsoring? You got to have a belief in your product, but your product is not jewelry. If I could get that through your head, your product is Premier Designs itself. What Premier stands for and what Premier is about, and we covered some of that during the opportunity presentation. Basically, your product is hope, that you're giving hope to other people. The hope that they can meet their business, their financial goals, that they can do what they need to do and still have their family together, that they can work things around their priorities, that they can be able to actually be involved in the lives of other people. The hope that there is something that can change in their life. That's their product. It's not just about money and it's not about jewelry. So believe in the product, but the product is Premier Designs itself. It's a system, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of thinking about people and service rather than jewelry and money. Okay? The other thing is, if you want to sponsor, you've got to have the ability to find people. So many of us are discouraged because we say, hey, we've talked to everybody. Everybody's told us no. Everybody's running from us. We're really an irritation to everybody. We're getting on everybody's nerves, and it's pretty discouraging. And so I would love to share with people, but I don't know who to share with. I've already talked to them all. Well, yeah, if I tell you to make 5 calls a day, and you're making 5 calls a day, 25 a week, 100 a month, and they're only to 5 different people, you are going to be pretty obnoxious. Okay? But if you can share at every show, with every customer, with every advance order, with every person in your phone directory and on your Facebook directory, and everybody you come into contact with as you leave the house and go into restaurants and go into stores and go to parks and playgrounds and follow up the leads that they share with you with other people that they know, you are never ever going to be obnoxious, and you're never ever going to run out of people. And so those of you that think there's nobody to talk to, basically you're talking to the same people over and over, and that is very wearying to the soul. Okay, now you also need to learn how to approach people in a non-threatening manner, because if you are known as a direct sales stalker, people are going to act like that you've got some sort of contagious disease, and they are going to hide from you. I remember when we first got into Premier, we were in a restaurant and a person came up to the table and they were wearing a big badge that says, "Ask me about my business." And Mike opened his mouth to ask him, and I kicked him under the table. I said, never ask somebody about their business that has on a badge that says, "Ask me about my business." So you've got to figure out a way to engage people in a conversation in a manner where you are not feeling personal rejection at stake and they are not feeling any pressure, with the same casualness that Eileen Beckley says is offering somebody a stick of gum. Just finding out which people are interested. I'm going to give you, I'm looking at Gabby out there again, I'm going to ask y'all a question. I've got some free tickets up here for 2 free skydives. Who wants them? Stand up if you want them.
No way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the room. Okay, I don't really know. You can sit back down. Okay, now who would never skydive under any conditions in their entire life? Stand up. Okay, and you can sit back down. If I wanted to share with you the absolute thrill and exhilaration of flying through the air, just with nothing impeding, and just the glorious view, the freedom, would I talk you into it? I am flat wasting my time. But if I know I've got 2 tickets here, and I ask enough of you, I'm going to find somebody in here that is absolutely elated to have them, right? And so the thing isn't to be trying to talk people into skydiving that are not interested in skydiving, and not to ask the same 5 over and over again that are not going to do it regardless of what I say now or in eternity. The key is to continue to ask different people until I find the people that are interested. And if I name practically any interest, there would be somebody in the room that's interested in hearing more about it. It's just a matter of finding out who they are. I've done this before. How many people like country music? How many people hate country music? Same person that wanted to skydive. If I said, oh, but you don't understand, country music is so awesome. It's the music of the soul. It tells a story. It's so dramatic. It brings you to tears. Let you listen to my 100 favorite country songs. You're not going to like it more. You're just going to realize why you hated it in the first place, right? But if I put it on with you that love it, man, y'all are going to be kicking up your boots and doing a line dance. And so it's a matter not of trying to talk somebody into doing something. It's a matter of just offering to everybody. And when you're doing that and you feel no personal rejection involved, I could not care less whether Gabby likes country music or not. Okay? And if I like it, it doesn't make me like her any less, and it doesn't hurt my feelings if she doesn't like it. I'm just looking for the people that do. If I have a CD to give away. And that's what Premier is. We're just uncovering by offering and making the person feel just as comfortable that says no as we feel when they say no. That's all kind of from Eileen Meckley. Now, the other key is to follow through and follow up. Because a lot of us are sharing, we're getting people interested, and we're not harvesting our fruit. Have any of you ever gone to the grocery store and bought a bunch of produce and had it rot in the refrigerator? We got one there on the end. Like any time I've ever gone to the grocery store, which is rare, that's what happens with the stuff that I bring back. There's a curious verse in the book of Proverbs that says, the lazy man does not roast his prey. You say, what on earth? What kind of scripture is that? Well, to me, it's like somebody that brings a person to an opportunity presentation. That person says they're interested, and you never take them home and cook them. You don't sign them up. You don't follow through with them, and all of a sudden something else gets their attention, or somebody comes along and pours cold water on it, or they just kind of lose interest. I had a girl one time that had her guest put 10 on her survey, which said, sign me up tonight. And she said, I wonder how long I should wait before I call her back. Thinking, you guys, where is your brain on this stuff? Follow up and follow through with the people that are interested. With the people that are not interested, don't hit them over the head with it time and time again. Is it that hard to figure out? We are not trying to make somebody want to do this with us. We are trying to find the people that have an interest in it and continuing to do the things that would enable them and help them see the path clearly to be able to get in. So those are just kind of the keys. Now, before I get into the subject any further, why would you want to sponsor? I had a girl one time that lived in California. She did lots of retail. I called her. I said, Laura, you're doing all this retail. You need to take advantage of the other side of the business. She said, I've got children of my own. Why on earth would I want somebody else? Well, there's another curious verse in the Bible. It says, where no oxen are, the stall is clean, but much increase comes from the strength of the ox. You say, Gayle, how do you know these weird Bible verses? It's because my mother used to say that to me all the time when my bedroom was dirty. So, yeah, people bring problems. Women especially bring problems. But you know what? Oh, the joy that they bring as well along with the problems. Is there anybody whose children have never brought them a moment of grief? There are 4 kids in our family, and my mother, don't tell my mother I told this publicly, but she told me one time that I gave her more grief than all of her other children put together. So, and I said, thank you. But there's nobody in here whose child has not at some time brought them grief, and there's nobody in here that wouldn't give their life for their children. And so, yes, that's the way it is. Without sponsoring, why sponsor? Without sponsoring, your income is an addition income. With sponsoring, your income is multiplication income. There's no limit to it. There is a limit, both just with time and exhaustion and nights of the week, of how much money I can make selling the jewelry. Now, I think I can make a pretty good living for doing something that's fun and flexible, but I don't care if I'm the top person in the nation. I'm not going to bump that retail up over probably $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a pretty good income for wearing earrings and eating brownies, right? But if I was good enough to make that much money retailing, can you imagine what my ability would be if I shared the business with other people and have them go out as an army of folks sharing hope all over America? Retailing is addition income, sponsoring is multiplication income. Without sponsoring, your income is supplemental income. It's a pretty nice thing. If all you're doing is just $500 a month, if you're stacking that on top of what you're already making, that's a pretty sweet thing. And I can't imagine anybody, no matter how much they're making, that wouldn't appreciate an extra $500 a month. It's a really good supplemental income. But when you sponsor, it can become your primary income. Little did I dream when I got into this, now almost 24 years ago, that this would be my sole livelihood, and that my husband would quit his job and join me, and that for over 20 years together, this would be our business. You guys realize, yeah, we work hard, but our work is trying really hard to have fun, because the more fun we have, the more our business works. And so we just work really hard at having fun. Isn't that amazing? That's how we make our living. And you can do it too. It's not rocket science. It's doing shows, sharing premiere with people at those shows, having them come in and teaching them how to do the same thing. Don't you think if you did that for a while that you'd get it down? And just doing that same thing over and over and over, and just adding more and more friends into your life. Sponsoring. Why sponsor? Sponsoring brings the same joy to you that parenting brings to a mother. You will get to a point where what your child does in Premier brings you more joy than what you will do in Premier. You'll get to a point that when your child has a $1,000 jewelry show, it brings you more joy than when you have a $1,000 jewelry show. Just like you're more thrilled when your child succeeds than when you do. Sponsoring is the best means to develop long-term friendships and ministry opportunities. I had a girl that worked for me part-time one time, and she was sitting in the same office, and I was just answering the phone, and all of a sudden she broke out in tears, and I thought, great, what did I say? Because I could have said something for sure that would have hurt her. That's not out of the realm of possibility, but this is what she said. She said, every time you pick up the phone, it's somebody telling you how much they love you and how much you've impacted their life. And she said, I don't have a single person in my life that tells me that. And she said, it's like all day long you're picking up the phone and having people tell you that. That's what sponsoring can do. You can have all these babies without having to go through childbirth. And ministry opportunities, you get to build into their life. You get to tell them things that will change the direction of their life for all eternity. These are people, you can't take your jewelry to heaven. It will have turned by then, okay? But these people and what you've built into their life, you can take them to heaven. When we started Premier, Mike was a full-time minister at a mega church. He was a counselor. He worked all day long impacting people's lives. I was a stay-at-home mom with 2- and 3-year-old boys, doing what I felt like God had called me to do. But you know what? I didn't have anybody that I built into. Now, the children, that's obviously the most important thing, and we're going to get to that later in here. But I was at home. When I started Premier, I was still a stay-at-home mom. But I came into contact with dozens and hundreds and now thousands of people that I've had an opportunity to literally change the course of their life. And it's not because of a one-time contact at a jewelry show, it's because they joined Premier, and I've gotten into their head and gotten into their heart for months, for years, some of them for decades, and then mine. What a special thing to be able to do. The person you sponsor becomes your child. That means you not only care about what they do, but you care about who they are. If you believe in Premier and what it has done for you and do not share it, it would be like somebody that had the cure for cancer and did not share it. Premier has changed my life. Am I selfish if I don't share it? Am I selfish if I do share it? Or am I selfish if I don't share it? Not to force it upon somebody, just to think, I may have what you're looking for. If it's not, it's good, but I wouldn't feel right just not finding out if it's something you might be interested in hearing more about. So those are just kind of some things on why sponsor. And since I've covered a few of the reasons why you should sponsor, let me cover the one reason why you should not sponsor. If you have no intention of taking care of the people you bring into Premier, please don't do it. You can refer those people to somebody else. I am certain there are multitudes of people in the room that if you have somebody ready to come in that would gladly pay you their $200 training fee for the referral of that prospect. But please, if you bring somebody into this world, take care of them. There's so many stories of somebody who has sponsored somebody else and just left them to raise themselves. That's as wrong as a mother who has more children just to increase her welfare payment and then abandons them when she's out partying. When you have children, they are a responsibility, but oh, the that they bring. Now I want to read to you one of my favorite passages in all of the Bible, because Premier is a company built on biblical principles. And this passage is about parenting, and I thought about whether just applying it to Premier or applying it to parenting and then telling you how it applies to Premier, and I think I've got time to do both. So some of you old people, you can apply it to grandparenting. But when I read you this, I want you to think about it in relationship to your fleshly children or your fleshly grandchildren, and then I want you to think about it in relation to your Premier children. And this is one of my favorite chapters, Psalm 127. Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman keeps awake in vain. This is one of my favorite verses, the next one, so much so that I sent it off to Vistaprint and had it printed up in little cards and give it out to people. It is vain for you to rise up early. That's the favorite part of the verse for me. It is vain for you to rise up early, to retire late, to eat the bread of painful labors, for he gives to his beloved even in his sleep. Isn't that an awesome verse? We'll get into that more in a little bit. Behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. That's where the underwear got its thing, by the way. You got that for free. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth. How blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They shall not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies in the gates. Now let's go back to verse 1 and just talk about who builds the house. Jesus is the greatest home builder. Without him, the Bible says you are building your house on the sand. And it may come up quickly, but when the inevitable winds and rains come, your house will fall flat. And I don't know who God intends for this for, but if your house is falling apart right now, you should check for cracks in the foundation. On the other hand, if you build your house on Jesus, the Bible likens it to building it on a rock. The same winds and rain will come, but the house built on the rock will stand firm. Did you know that people who divorce and people who do not divorce have the identically same problems and stresses and temptations? In the biblical story, the identical same winds and rains hit both houses. One stood and one didn't. The difference was the foundation. Now let's take that and let's apply that to Premier. Jesus is also the greatest business builder. Andy Horner's primary concern was to build Premier on biblical principles. Premier is built on those same biblical principles, but the question is your individual Premier business built on biblical principles? Because just because Premier Designs Incorporated is built on those principles, that doesn't mean your business is built on those principles, because the winds and the rain will come. The economy will become unstable. You will have cancellations and picky customers and even problem children in your downline. You will have low retail, you'll have lack of bookings. If your business was built on the sand of just wanting to make some extra money, when the wind and the rain come, your business will fall flat. But if your business was built for the purpose of glorifying and honoring Jesus, your business will weather the storm and still be standing when the sun comes out. I called Tim Horner and I said, Tim, my commissions are down. You know, is this something we need to be afraid of? He said, I can't control your commissions. I don't know what's going to happen in the world today. You know, if I were you, I'd get out of debt, lower my expenses. But to say whether Premier is working or not, he said Premier is working if lives are being impacted and touched. And if you're serving and loving people and enriching lives, then Premier is working. And I will say God has blessed me plenty financially. And yes, Premier is enriching lives. So, who keeps the house from falling apart? The Bible says, except the Lord guards the city, the watchmen keep awake in vain. What's a city? A city's just a collection of houses. A city's no stronger than its homes are. No amount of worry will save your family. You can stay awake all night long, but it's not you, but God who guards your home. Listen to these verses out of Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God which surpasses all comprehension shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Now let's relate this verse to our Premier business. Except the Lord guards our business, we keep awake in vain. We do so many frantic things to keep people from leaving Premier or from, you know, getting burned out, but except the Lord guards it, we keep awake in vain. God is the one that keeps your business going. If you're dependent upon your own efforts apart from His blessing, your business will go right down the tube. along with your emotional well-being. He may even cause your business to go down the tube if you're dependent upon your own efforts to keep it up, just to show you that that doesn't work. It is God who guards your business. You can work all night and not build a premier business apart from God's blessing. On the other hand, when your ways please the Lord, He can and will bless your business even when you sleep. And how many times have I tried so hard to do something, followed all the steps, 1, 2, and 3, supposed to get me 4, 5, and 6, followed up and called even more than I was supposed to, and nothing happens. And finally, when I give it up, give it to the Lord, and just go to bed, wake up the next morning, and something overnight happened that my fingerprints weren't even on. And that's just so He'll get the glory. It's Him that causes the growth, not me. Now, so what role do we play if God builds it and keeps it together? Is there anything I do? Yeah, I'm supposed to work. Psalm 127:2 says, "It's vain for you to rise up early and to retire late, to eat the bread of painful labors, for He gives to His beloved even in His sleep." What does that mean? Does that mean I should just sleep all day long? Should I just say, "God bless my business, I'm not doing anything, you bring it to me, I'm waiting on you"? Those people that are waiting on God usually wait longer. It's waiting on God and working real hard at the same time while we wait. We've got to compare that with other passages in the Scripture. Let's get a complete picture and go to Proverbs 6:6-11. I like this because I like to say the word sluggard. It says, "Go to the ant, O sluggard. Observe her ways and be wise, which having no chief, officer, or ruler, prepares her food in the summer and gathers her provision in the harvest. How long will you lie down, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and your poverty will come in like a vagabond." I don't know what that means, but I'd hate for my poverty to come in like one. "And your need like an armed man." When you put those two verses together, you come up with a complete balanced picture of what the Bible is teaching. The Bible is teaching proper priorities. You shouldn't be sleeping when you should be working. On the other hand, you shouldn't be working when you should be sleeping. You shouldn't be doing Premiere when you should be playing with your children. But listen to this, you shouldn't be playing with your children when you should be doing Premiere. Do you see it? We should work hard, play hard, and sleep hard. Don't feel like you can never put it down. If you work when you should, then you can play and sleep when you should. If you haven't worked when you should, then you just feel guilty all the time. You feel guilty that you should be working. You feel guilty that you should be playing with your children. You just are in a mess. But if you do what you're supposed to do during the time you're supposed to do it, notice that verse doesn't say you shouldn't get up and work. It says it's vain to get up too early, to go to bed too late, to eat the bread of painful labor, for He gives to His beloved in His sleep. You should get up and work when you should be working, and then you should lay it down and give it to Him. You'll enjoy your life. You'll enjoy your business. And you'll have it in proper perspective, knowing that God is causing the growth. God is blessing my business, but I have given Him something to work with. Okay? It's basically God bless the people I've talked to and help the ones that you intend to come into Premiere, not God just magically help people to poof appear in front of me with signed contracts that have already been submitted into Premiere and training shows that have already been performed. You will hear people say, there's nothing wrong with making all the money you can as long as you make it honestly. But there sure is, because if you're making all the money you can, then you will be making money when you should be spending time alone with God, or playing with your children, or taking a walk with your husband, or going to bed on time. But remember, if you are doing all those things without working, the Bible says your poverty is going to come on you like a vagabond and your need like an armed man. So let's have proper priorities. Work when we should, play when we should. Now, so we're letting God be our foundation. We're trusting God to hold it all together. We're doing our part. Now it's time for us to have some kids. Okay, it's kind of like we got our house, we got married, we got our job. Now let's talk about kids. And so this passage switches from building a house, from having productive income and labor coming in that God's providing, to children. And it says, behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. So the desirability of children, to not want children, is to not want a gift that God has picked out especially for you. Now, I think he picked some of our kids out as punishment for us, but he picked them out especially for us. Okay? But it's been said that children don't make a rich man poor, they make a poor man rich. And children are one of the primary reasons that Premier Designs was founded. And he founded Premier so that mothers could stay home with their children, so that single moms could have a way to support themselves out of their home. It was conceived and designed for the purpose of being able to stay home with your children during the day and to be gone 1 or 2 nights a week while Daddy did not babysit, while Daddy parented his own children. Premier was never designed to come before your children. Please, please, please don't ever say, I'm not going to have any more children because it will interfere with my business. Premier was designed so that you could make the income you need and be able to do it around your family's needs and priorities. And those of you with a downline, and I can say I've been guilty of this, please don't ever begrudge your high producers from having more children. That's what Premier is all about. Premier was designed to keep the ladies out of the corporate workplace and designed to enable you to be with your children and not take you away from your children. Your children should always come first. Your responsibility as a woman is not primarily as a breadwinner. Your responsibility is that of a wife and mother. But I want you to listen carefully and understand this. If you are a mother, particularly the mother of young children, if you need to work, and most of us do, it is so important that you work for yourself and not for somebody else. And the reason is clear. You have to be the one who determines when you work and when you don't work. No boss will ever have the same priorities for you and your family that you will. And so you can have it all. I've had it all. My children have never been in daycare. I've never worked outside of the home since they've been born. And that doesn't mean I haven't been busy. And that doesn't mean that I haven't worn every cap there is to wear, in a business world. But I've done where I've called the shots and where I can come and go according to the needs of my own family. And where I can make sure that my husband or my parents or my picked out babysitter was there during the time where there was a need. So let me see here. Children are what Premier is all about, but in order to continue to be able to stay home with those children, and in order to continue to provide for the things that you want your children to have and do, and to be able to put your children in the schools that you want them to go to, you better work your business hard and you better work your business smart during the time you're supposed to be working your business. So I hope you understand what I'm saying there. There's a time to work, there's a time to play. Do each one when you're supposed to, and this thing will work like a well-oiled machine. So let's think a little bit about the desirability of Premier children. Remember we talked about, when we started out, about why you should sponsor. We were thinking last about working Premier around our real children, but let's think about our Premier children. We should sponsor because just as fleshly children are a gift from God and a reward and a blessing, so are Premier children. And I think parenting in Premier is the most fulfilling part of this business. How empty my life would be if I did not have my Premier children in my Premier family. There can be no greater joy in life than being able to reproduce yourself in someone else. Through sponsoring or birthing Premier babies, you can multiply your income without multiplying your time. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? This is the means that will enable you to spend the time with your own children that you need to spend when they are young. Sponsoring is the means where you can make more money and still be able to be at home with your own children. You can't do it all, but when you sponsor, you combine your efforts with the efforts of everyone. So let's think not only about the desirability of children, but let's keep that with a D and think about the directability of children. Psalm 127 says, like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth. What are arrows for? They're for shooting at the enemy. And when you have children, your job as a mother and as a parent is to prepare those children for spiritual warfare. They are your arrows. Your greatest time is the time spent polishing and sharpening and aiming those arrows. A mother's job is the greatest job she will ever have. Once the arrow has left the bow, it's too late to aim it. So take advantage when those children are home. But if it is aimed properly, your arrow, which is your child, can accomplish things for God that you never could accomplish by yourself. An arrow can go where you cannot go and do what you cannot do. What an exciting ministry we have as mothers. Literally, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. What about Premier children? How are they arrows? Through sponsoring, you also have a new life that God has entrusted to you to develop to its fullest potential. I view everyone that God enables me to sponsor as being someone that God intends for me to be involved in discipling and developing. Basically, they are my assignment. This business is both about ministry and money. Ministry is the purpose and money is the byproduct. When I build this mentality into my Premier children, I send out an army of like-minded people into the homes of America. Can 2 people do more than 1 person? Can 4 people do more than 1 person? Can 8 people do more than 1 person? That's the blessing of having Premier children. So I hope I've given you a vision of why you would want to have children of your own, or if you're older and beyond that, why you would want to have Premier children. That's where it's at. That's where it's all about. Now, where are we going to find these people? I just want to quickly go through some things. The first and obvious place to find people is to start with your own family and friends, your warm market. Why not find something that you guys can do together? Where you can have like a tax-deductible sister or a tax-deductible best friend. You know, that's cool. Where you can win a cruise together and travel the world with the people you already love. Isn't that an amazing thing? My sister sponsored me, and I in turn have sponsored 3 of my sister-in-laws and 1 of my nieces. It's a family thing. These people already know you. They love you. Most of these people already trust you. Some may know enough not to trust you. I don't know. But let me caution you. Your family and friends will either be very easy to sponsor or they will be very difficult to sponsor. They probably won't be somewhere in between. When my sister Janice came into Premier, I told her in no uncertain terms that not now, not ever, not in eternity would I join Premier, and here I am. So, with those closest to you, we tend to let our guard down, and those are the people we tend to share all the negative things with, right? But you do not know whether you are going to sponsor the next executive director, and that executive director is going to be your own sister. And if my sister Janice had told me all the bad things about Premier, even though she got in during a horrific time in her life, and because she went through a divorce where her husband did not pay her any child support at all, if she had told all the negative things, I would never have been interested. But she just acted like Premier was a blessing. And I decided that I wanted to join with her and help bless her life through my efforts. And now here I am with a business 3 times the size of hers. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So never be negative about your business, no matter how unlikely it is that they may join you. You never know. You never know what's going to happen next. Okay, so after you run through your warm market of family and friends, the next best place to find people to sponsor is through your jewelry shows, and the most obvious place is through your hostess. And if you are not sponsoring at least 1 out of every 10 of your hostesses, you are not sharing the business with them. And I cannot tell you the people that I've run into over the years that have said, yeah, I've done a jewelry show before. And I say, did the person who did the show with you share how Premier worked? No, they didn't. A lot of them can't even remember who the person was that did the show for them. So kind of look at that as a gauge. If you've done 40 shows, you should have sponsored at least 4 hostesses. And that doesn't include the guests at the show and the people that you just ran into as part of your lifestyle. Basically, share with them ahead of the show how it works in case they can think of someone to invite. You're getting the same opportunity to share the business, only they don't put their guard up. You know, share with them how it works ahead of time. After the show's over, when you're closing out, share with them again how it worked, how long you were there, how much money you made, and then share with them afterwards. You know, when you follow up with them, rebook them for another show and continue to keep them in the system as they see show after show after show how it continues to work. So the first and most obvious place is with your hostess. And the second place is with the guest at the show. Every one of them. You not only should do something demonstrating during the show how Premier works in a visible, tangible way, but you should be sending home every single guest with, if nobody else has one, send them home with a call-in number to my opportunity call. It's 19 minutes. You can print it on a piece of paper and send it home with everyone. And you can give everyone, you know, call in. If you listen to this call, call back and I'll give you another half-price piece of jewelry. Add to your CV during the show. You don't give it to them until they check out. And say, if you listen to it or pass it along to somebody who's interested. If that's the very least you do, you're going to sponsor several people just by accident. All right? But you should also make customer care calls with every single one of your guests and share with each one of them all the opportunities that Premier offers. To not share with people that Premier has the opportunity to make money as a business would be the same as our waiter did, our waitress did at my dinner. I took my first level out to Jim and Nick's tonight. I bought everybody's meal. First thing is she came and handed everybody a bill. Well, I was paying for it. She never asked who was paying for it. And so I had to get all the bills. And then she never asked if anybody wanted dessert. And I said, well, we can't pay yet. We're all getting dessert. And so we had to ask her, what's for dessert? What do you have here? Well, every single person wanted dessert. You know, that's what we do as Premier people. She was not a good server. Fortunately, I remembered it because dessert was on my mind. But we do that at shows. We assume that that's all they're interested in and never even offer them the best thing that Premier has. To every customer in your customer care calls that follow up, did you love your jewelry? You know, I know when you've gotten away, did you think any more about having a show? Did you think any more about doing this as a business out of your home, right alongside your family and friends? Did you think of somebody else that might be interested in doing this? I just wanted to let you know how to keep in contact with me in case you have any problems. I'll check back with you in a couple months to see if there's any way that I can help you or serve you. That is so easy. Is everybody going to be interested? No. But it's just like the skydiving. If you call everybody, you will find people who are interested, and none of the other people will be upset with you. They'll just think you're a friendly, nice person. Right? Yes, Gayle. Right. Okay. So, let me see. I think I'm going to just flip through here. What type people can you look for? Because a lot of times we say, well, I don't know, I never see anybody that's interested. I tell people about it to come up afterwards and talk to me, and nobody ever does. And I jokingly say that it's not really a whole lot of joke, that it's amazing how I have people that have been in Premier for years and say nobody's ever asked them about Premier, and I said, well, let me go with you to your show. And can you believe that, like at the show I go to, there's like 3 people there interested in the business, and they've been in for 10 years and nobody's ever been interested? But the show that I happen to go to, there's 3 people there. Ladies, you see what you're looking for. You know, you get a certain type of car and you've never noticed that car before, and now all of a sudden they're all over in the same color you got. Because you see what you're looking for. So what types of things do you look for to show? First of all, hold a mirror under somebody's nose if they fog the mirror and you share with them. Okay? Because you offer to everybody. You can't tell what's inside of somebody. Right? As a matter of fact, the person that you would pick out would probably be the worst person in Premier, because they're a diva that doesn't want to work and they're all about themselves. Now, you still offer to them though, because they fog the mirror. But don't try and pick them out. You'll miss them every time. But let me give you just a few things in addition to asking everybody. You tune into this on top of that. You ask your hostess ahead of time who she knows that's coming, that's in the market for some more money or looking for a job, or who she thinks would be good doing this type of thing. It's like getting a lead from the person that knows everybody. It's almost dumb not to do that, isn't it? And yet we don't think to do that. And then be on the lookout especially for that person. And then look for people that have an interest in fashion or will try and take over your modeling show or your fashion tips. You know, they want to contribute, they want to add to, they want to hijack. Let them. You know, that's what it's all about. I would rather lose control and get a prospect than keep control and everybody think how annoying and controlling I am. Right? If somebody wants to do it, my soul, I give them the floor. All right? Look for people that help others pick out the jewelry at the table. Somebody that's just always there saying, oh, try this on, or let me do this. Obviously, there's somebody that is inclined to this sort of thing. Look for people that love everything and don't buy anything. You have those? Oh, and they'll keep you like an hour later going through every single piece, and you want to pack up, and they're still trying on things, and then they walk out and didn't buy anything. Why would somebody do that? There's only a couple of reasons why they would do that. Number one is she can't afford it. She wishes she could. She's not just leading you on. She wishes she could buy everything she loved. What she needs is money. I've got a way where she can have all the jewelry she loves and the money she most desperately needs. These are the most fulfilling type people to share the business with. And we think they're not interested because they didn't buy anything. Open your eyes. Number 2 reason is she is a shrewd businesswoman. She thinks she can get a better deal elsewhere, or at least she wants to check it out before she buys. This type of person will drive you nuts as a customer, but sponsor them and they will make you very happy as a Premier child. How do I know? Because that's the type of person I am. I am the hardest person to sell something to because I am thinking, why do I want her to be making this money when I could be doing the same thing and making the money doing what she is doing? I like to buy wholesale. I like to go in gift shops and see where they get things so that I can go home and figure out how to order it wholesale. Danae, what's your last name now? Danae Hudson. Hurston. Danae was at Randy and Elizabeth Draper's house with me. Are you the one that likes the mugs?
Yes.
And she said, I love mugs. And so I like to get things wholesale. So I had me a nice steaming hot cup of coffee, and she came down and she said, I love your mug. And I turned it over to see where it came from. And all the hot coffee just spilled all over me and all over Elizabeth Draper's couch. And that's just the type of person I am, because I'm just cheap, and I would rather buy a dozen that I don't need, that I got at half price, than one that I needed at full price. So if you see somebody like that at your show, don't tune them out and say they were cheap or they were trying to work me for a special price. They're a business person. They think a different way than just the common garden variety buyer thinks. Okay? So they are a prospect. All right, let's look through here and see what we get to. Home shows are where the action's at. They're all around us, but is that the only action? No way. They're all about us. There's a story in the Old Testament where Elisha and his servant were out and the enemy was surrounding them, and the servant said, basically, help, what are we going to do? So there's the enemies everywhere, and Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of my servant. And when he opened his eyes, the Bible says the hills were filled with horses and chariots of fire that were unseen to the human eye. And that's a really incredible story about the power of God and the protecting forces that we have around us everywhere we go. But it's also, we can be that way just as we're living our life. We can be oblivious to the people all around us that have needs. Every time we go out, we come in contact with people that need hope. And if we could read their thoughts or get inside of their lives, we would be compelled to share. You know, we have found the answer, and all we have to do is ask. You know, are you looking for something? Is this something you would be interested in doing? The servers, everywhere we go, is this your part-time job? Most servers are serving, and they're doing 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. And they're doing it in order to do something else, and they need flexibility in their lives, and they're already working nights, and all you have to do is ask and share with them. And so if you will share with your family and friends, who are they? If you've got their name in your phone directory, you know them well enough to offer and say, hey, you know, I've never asked you this. Can I ask if this is something you'd be interested in? Let me tell you the different services I offer, and you can tell me if there's any of them you may or may not be interested in, or if you know somebody that might. Just ask. And if it's not them, it'll be a springboard to somebody else. All the people in your phone directory, all the people in your Facebook. Don't ask in a group text. Don't ask in a group Facebook post. You have to ask individually and personalized. All right? Then all your hostesses, all the guests at your shows, all the pre-orders, and all the people those people recommend. And then every time you leave the house, you take Premier and the hope of Premier with you, and you open your eyes to be able to see the unseen people that are walking around with needs, and you remember that your product is hope, and you're deputized to share it, and when you do share it, you're going to gain so much more in return than you will ever get. You will meet their needs, give them a future, change their life, and as a byproduct, your needs will be met as well. Everything you need is already in your possession. You already own that kit. Don't be like the steward who was given a talent and took it and buried it in the ground. And when the master came back, he said, you're wicked and lazy. You should have at least invested it and earned interest on it. You already have what you need. Go out and share it with others. Do it in the power of the Holy Spirit, because it's God that builds the house. It's God that guards the house. It's God that keeps the house. But we're laborers together with Him. Thank you so much. Holly, Renee, whoever's in charge, come up and close us out and tell everybody what they're doing afterwards and what they're supposed to do next. I do want to say, y'all are very gracious and very loving, and I cannot tell you how much you mean to me. And You just really mean a lot to me. This is very emotional for me to be back home with you and to see this room filled. That means more than you could ever imagine. Premier is sponsoring what's called a Day of Leadership. And basically, it's just wherever an executive director happens to live. So unfortunately for y'all, I moved to Savannah, so it's going to be in Savannah. But fortunately for you, Savannah is a really cool place to go to. Okay, this is open to anybody that's a builder or a designer or has sponsored to and done 12 jewelry shows from the first of the year through the end of April. If you have sponsored none and have done no jewelry shows, if you sponsor 2 and do 12 jewelry shows between now and the end of April, you can come. Now, this is going to be your leaders, your top leaders here, people from other places in the nation, and me are going to teach and train just on the leadership topics. It's going to be intensive. It's going to be directed. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to start on Friday night, go all day long, 9 to 5 on Saturday. It's going to be advertised through the home office on April the 1st. There's a $25 charge to attend. I'm not positive whether that's per person or per jeweler number. Lunch will be included in the venue. But I want to tell you, if you want to come, please come and make it into a fun trip. There's so much to do in Savannah. What I'm recommending that everybody does is stay over on Saturday night after we've trained all day long, go to Paula Dean's and just pig out on butter that night to the restaurant, not to her personal house, but go to the restaurant, the Ladies and Sons, and then go to what's called the Historic Savannah Theater on Saturday night. That's my very favorite thing to do in all of Savannah. It's a musical theater that has just like, it's the best entertainment even in Las Vegas. Okay, it's incredible, and it's there, and you can just call, get tickets, get reservations with your group. But that's what I would recommend. If you want to come in early, go around, do the Savannah tour, go look at the old houses, go downtown, walk the river, go to the praline shop, and hope the guy doesn't look you in the eye so you can just keep going through and going through. But I want you to invite you now to my second city, not my hometown, but where I live now, to be back. That's on May the 2nd and the 3rd. If you're not a builder or a designer, get there. Okay? All righty. And the 40-year-old Renee Kelly.
Wow, that was awesome. Who's excited? Thank you so much. Don't you feel blessed to be a part of this? We have such a blessing. It's you. You're cute. I don't even have my glasses up here. Like, Mom, I know what I do with mine. No, you're good. You're good. Gayle has offered to give more of her time. So if you would like to go be with her personally, she's going to California Dreamin' right now, and she's invited anyone that would like to go over there and visit with her that you can do that. So the reason we had to hurry out of here, we're supposed to be out of the parking lot by 9. So if y'all can exit out quickly, but we're telling you, you don't have to go off-road. You can go to California Dreamin'. However, there are 2 things that have been found here. Nail polish, and I'm not sure if this is a light or something, keychain. So if this belongs to you, I have it. Thank y'all so much, and y'all be careful going home.